Tactical or insincere voting, sometimes called strategic voting, is where you end up voting, an individual ends up voting for a candidate or party that is not the most preferred among the list of options, but you're doing it because for a reason that you kind of know how other people are going to vote, and you therefore want your vote to have impact, to count, or you want to vote for a candidate or party that's going to possibly win. You might be looking ahead, so you might be voting in the current context, for instance. You might be interested in voting for a candidate that might not be your favorite because you believe that candidate has a better chance of winning the general election. So really, anytime you're not voting for your most preferred candidate or party for some other reason because you believe it's going to have more impact, then you would say it's an insincere or tactical or strategic vote. It's a broad category, but that's roughly what it is. It's helpful to think of the opposite, which is sincere voting, which is I'm going to vote for my favorite, period. I don't care what other people are doing. I don't care about whether this person has a chance. I'm going to vote sincerely. So everything else is that, tactical, insincere, strategic. So a protest vote is really voting for any candidate or party to send a signal of dismay or disgust or unhappiness, perhaps with your own party's candidate or with the whole process. So, for instance, in Utah, there were quite a few Republicans in Utah in 2016 who were unhappy with Donald Trump as their party's candidate. They weren't going to vote for Hillary Clinton, but they voted for example, Gary Johnson, who did reasonably well in Utah. So that's sort of a protest vote against your own party's candidate. You're trying to send a signal, a message, even though you kind of acknowledge that the person you're voting for, the party you're voting for, is not going to win. Yeah, so crossover voting would be when you, in an open primary, for instance, when an open primary is when anyone can participate in a party's primary. You don't have to register with that party, or you don't have to, declare yourself a member of the party in order to participate. So a crossover would be when, as an example, a Democrat, person who thinks of himself or herself as a Democrat, votes in the Republican primary, either to try to influence that or to, as a protest vote, or to try to, send some signal. So that would be a classic example. It's crossing over to the other party or to another party.